There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
We've been fighting a long time, and we've all lost so very much, so many loved ones gone. You are not alone. There are pockets of resistance all around the planet. Wear it and break. Above all, stay alive. You have no idea how important you are. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.
Welcome back to the broadcast.
Who the hell do you think you are?
My name is Max Palace. Give it up for me, doggone it. Thank you for joining us again at the round table. And when I say up, I am never alone. No.
Who the fuck is that guy?
That guy right there is the BBR Bagman. How you doing, sir?
We're here. I'm back. You can't get rid of me.
I don't think we're even going to try, sir. And no, it's not just the two of us. We're going to introduce you to our good old friend, the preacher man himself. Good evening to you, sir. How are you?
Hey. Good. How's everybody doing tonight?
Everybody's doing great. Hopefully, our listening audience is doing just as good as we can imagine, because it's a chaotic world out here, and that's probably going to be one of the things we're talking about, because it's all over the news. And what is the news without Gary Gnu? God damn it!
This is Gary Gnu, and the No Gnu's is Good Gnu Show, the only TV Gnu's program guaranteed to contain no Gnu's whatsoever.
Nice. Thank you. And it's doppelganger, Mr. Al Sharpton, because, that's exactly how he looks, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, once he lost all the weight, for sure. Yeah, wow. I never put it together until you said it, though.
Oh, now
I
you will
can't
not
unsee
sleep.
it.
You will not sleep until the haunting of Gary Gnu is out of your brain, sir. He will visit you and protest. You know what? They actually do make a Gary Gnu figure. Should get one, repaint it with a jumpsuit, stage a whole, march. Stage a whole march diorama with him in the front. What's in the news, fellas?
Assassinations, drone swarms. What are we missing?
The Hawk Tua girl pulling a rug pull on a digital coin. See that she did? But even better than that.
Yeah, you got Syria too.
Even better than that, did you see the kid that did one?
In the volatile world of cryptocurrency, a young trader, colloquially referred to as a kid, found himself at the center of a unique case involving a rug pull scam that captured the attention of the crypto community.
He did it live on a stream. Like, he made the coin, had his followers all in, that you watched it go up, and then he rug pulled it right in front of everybody, all on the live stream.
This teenager created a token named Quant on the Pump.Fun platform, selling it during a live stream for 128 SOL, which was equivalent to approximately $30,000 at the time.
But damn, that's fucked up. That's really fucked up. To do it live in front of
and they're talking about...
brilliant, because he's under 18 and can't be prosecuted for it.
Thanks for the 20 bandos.
Thing is, he's only 13 years old. His scam represents everything stereotyped of the young tech generations on movies and TV shows, as unbelievably savvy hacker types who can instantly make $1 gazillion if they are so inclined.
The Hawk Tua girl, on the other hand, may be facing jail time.
Yeah.
Yeah, something tells me that that's not her brain scheme, and that the people around her, somebody's going to have to take
Yeah,
absolutely. But I don't know that you get to use, it wasn't me, it was somebody else, and I didn't know what was going on, even though I put my name all over it as a legal defense.
Didn't work for Martha Stewart.
Nope.
Let's start with the assassination, man. Like, it's a hot button topic. I honestly,
big time. And
without
Preacher and I were talking about this before we started recording, because we're seeing, so everybody's dissecting the events, right? And then people are drawing certain conclusions that are requiring leaps.
Without understanding how the process works.
Without understanding a lot of things, right? And you've got the people that are talking firearms and tactics that really don't want to take a look at what's there and try to diagnose it. It's more an opportunity for me to show you what I know. Well, what if he was using a well rod? which is a really rare and obscure firearm that I guarantee he was not using. But good for you for knowing what a well rod is.
All right, so I don't know what the hell a well rod is. What is that?
It's basically a bolt action pistol. You open it up from the back with a quarter turn. It loads around and you close it again. It's designed to be basically not integrally suppressed because it uses a can with wipes. This was not that, right? It's a can. We don't use cans with wipes in the U.S. because we don't use suppressors with wipes because the wipes are considered internal baffles, and the internal baffles can only be replaced by the manufacturer of the suppressor, and they go out after 6 shots. They're useless. So this wasn't that.
You've got gun people that are really eager to show what they know, even though it has nothing the hell to do with what's gone on.
Kind of just like I did.
Right, but but that's not your fault. You were spawned by somebody else doing dumb shit, so we can't blame you for just, having your autism triggered. It's fine.
I've definitely seen people analyzing it and trying to make it the back and to the left of 2024 of everybody just, showing you what they know, essentially.
Join me next week when I review the recently restored director's cut of JFK with 2 hours of new footage.
Back and to the left. 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 Back and to the left.
I'm personally more disappointed by certain people's applauding of this action. And that's what's really standing out for me is just the sadly positive reaction to this man being shot in broad daylight. And, he was a father. I don't know if he was divorced or not, but people are now mourning the loss of this dude. And social media is erupting with people applauding somebody that killed somebody. It's that's how sad society has gotten now.
And people are saying, oh, now change can happen. Now change. Sorry, go ahead.
No. It's you're absolutely right. What change? Do people really know what this dude?
No, it's a corporation. That dude's already replaced.
Yeah, I saw.
He's already replaced by somebody else.
There's a LinkedIn.
And he's a figurehead. He doesn't make decisions.
Yeah, they're already looking to fill his role, corporate replacement, so quickly. And what do people
not looking to? I guarantee you, it's already filled.
Yeah, what do people think?
It's already filled.
It's going to happen with this? Now all of a sudden, you're going to get free health care?
No, but let's look at the psychology of the masses that are responding to this. Right, they're upset because their premiums are high. They're upset because services are being denied, and they want someone to blame. Right. Somebody else had their reason, their means, motive, and opportunity to kill this guy, right? And I'm not justifying that one way or the other. But the people who stood by and are cheering this online are using him as the effigy of what's wrong with the system. And they're comfortable burning him or treating it like this is okay because they've made him represent that, whether he was or not.
Yeah.
But they've, again, made this massive leap to link those two things, that everything wrong with the healthcare system in America should be pinned to this guy, and because they killed him, now everything's going to be better. It's nonsense.
This goes back to discussions we've had before about everybody needs to visit a third world country.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs to go visit the UK and try to get a surgery done. Everybody needs to go to Canada and try to get a surgery done. Yeah, you may have to pay for it here. You may be in debt for 30 years, but you'll get it before you die. You'll get the surgery, and we won't offer you, suicide as an option for diabetes, like Canada does. Oh, I can't afford my insulin. Well, have you considered suicide?
Even if you're not Canadian, you've probably heard that we have a bit of a problem with our assisted suicide regime. Namely, that we keep approving it for poor people, the disabled, or for veterans who are simply seeking help for their PTSD. But here's something particularly concerning to critics of Canadian euthanasia. Our rate of assisted suicide is absolutely exploding, with no signs of slowing down. In the Netherlands, the first country in the world to legalize euthanasia, it took 10 years for euthanasia to represent 4% of the country's deaths. And Dutch eyebrows get raised if the rate rises more than 10% a year. Canada? After just 5 years, assisted suicide already represented 3.3% of all Canadian deaths, with the rate rising by more than 30% a year. And that was when we still limited euthanasia to people with terminal illnesses. Now that it's open to anyone with a grievous and irremediable condition, expect that number to blow up even more.
Ask your doctor if suicide is right for you.
Not joking.
I wish you were.
So yeah,
this
we may have
dark
problems.
Yeah,
we may have problems with our insurance industry. I'm not saying we don't, but it's a damn sight better than a lot of other places.
But someone on social media likened this situation to the movie John Q, and I'm sitting there reading it. If you cheered for him, good, then you shouldn't worry about some CEO of a healthcare company getting shot, because I'm pretty sure John Q would have done the same thing. If you ever watched the movie, John Q never harmed anybody inside that hospital that he took hostage, and he was willing to sacrifice only himself.
Without a new heart, he's not going to make it.
Okay. Take mine.
What?
You heard me. Take my heart, and you put it in Mike.
Oh, man, you done lost your damn mind.
To get the health care that his son needed. He wasn't walking up to people. And I'm sitting here looking at this post, and I had to convince myself not to even engage with it, because it's so blatantly ridiculous to make that likeness, because you think you're the everyman, and the everyman will just walk up to a CEO and literally shoot him in broad daylight. You ain't that guy. But you think that
and here's the thing,
this is some savior.
But the other part is, all they did was prove that they never actually watched the movie and didn't understand the movie if they did.
And another thing, let's talk about the reality of it. If you're sick and you go to the hospital and you don't have insurance, you're still getting treated.
Yeah, you're just going to walk out with a bill.
In America. You're going to walk out with a $20,000 bill, yeah. Right? I'm not saying you're not going to get a bill and it's not going to be ridiculous and it's not going to put you in financial slavery for whatever, but you're going to get treated.
Well, here's the
I have a friend in England who's been waiting to get a tumor biopsy for 7 months now. And he's still waiting just to get a biopsy. That doesn't happen here.
Wow.
Coverage may be denied by insurance companies, yeah. But you'll go in and get your biopsy for the lump that's in your throat or whatever. Damn. Nobody talks about that.
The other thing people seem to forget is that if you make any payment at all, your account remains in good standing.
$1 a month.
That's it. And I've done it.
I've done it. I'm doing it right now, actually.
Right.
This is not financial or medical advice.
And that's especially useful if you're going to fight a bill. Well, pay $1 a month and keep it in good standing, and let them argue, and give them $1 each month. Now, don't miss a payment, but give them $1 each month. And then the other thing is, if it goes to collections, well, the collection agency really has no claim to that. They bought that debt. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
You can challenge that and get it tossed, and now you got free health care.
You walked away.
Yeah.
This is not financial or medical advice.
Let's move on from that, because I'll be honest, I'm tired of everybody pontificating on it when nobody really has any answers yet. I think it's strange that nobody's been arrested. And if you look at some of the pictures that are being shared, they certainly don't match up.
Yeah. But okay, conspiracy time. That has been a common theme over the past 8 years. Something happens. Here's the pictures. Oh, here's the person. Well, none of this shit ever matches up for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a conspiracy, but, it's odd. Because we say it every time. Well, that doesn't look like that person. Or this doesn't look like that. And yeah, maybe it's just shitty CCTV, right? But you're also talking about New York. Pretty much in America, I'm guessing, is the most highly surveilled city that we have.
Oh, there's cameras everywhere in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's why I don't go to New York.
The two mismatching, or I should say non-matching photos, I believe were taken at two different locations at two different times, which could possibly explain the difference in jacket and the difference in backpack that allegedly, according to some reports, they may have found. So now the speculation is
I saw something about that.
Yeah, now the speculation is that
they think he's out of the city.
So it'll be interesting to see if this alleged person is actually allegedly found and how they weave the story together. But aside from that, I'd rather talk about drones.
FBI is investigating reports about several mysterious nighttime drone flights that have recently occurred across central New Jersey, and they're asking the public for any help they can provide.
Yeah. So all I know about the drones is a couple of people I've spoken to in New Jersey that have seen them locally and heard about them locally, like on their town Facebook groups, and that these drones are all over the place. So I'm not informed beyond that. Fill me in on what's going on with drones.
We don't know. That's the problem.
And then no. But you definitely have more cases than I'm aware of. So lay those out, and then I'll throw out what I think is my solution.
Okay, so multiple sightings of individual large drones, as well as swarms of drones all over New Jersey, top to bottom. Also, drone swarms appearing, I believe, in Norfolk, Virginia. I saw reports of them showing up down in Florida, as well as multiple cases at various NATO bases around the globe as well.
The U.S. Air Force says unidentified drones have been spotted over 4 joint U.S. and U.K. military bases in England. The mysterious drones have repeatedly appeared for over a week now.
Yeah, it was Romania. They scrambled F-16s to chase drones off in their airspace. Now, does that have to do with conflicts in the area? Maybe. But the ones here, CONUS, is kind of weird. And what are they doing?
In New Jersey, right?
And New Jersey.
Where are they coming from, and
where are they going to?
Who's sending them? Where they're going? Right? What are they doing?
If we're talking drone swarms, they don't have a lot of battery life to them, right? It's basically your standard off-the-shelf drone that they're using an AI to control a swarm of them. The advantage of that is you can get a lot of footage and cover a massive area really quickly, and then they just disappear, right? They have the radar cross-section of a bird because they are the size of a bird. The larger drones are problematic.
It's a great way to case a neighborhood for future break-ins.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a possibility too.
Absolutely.
That's what I've told people when they ask me about it. I go, it's a probe, right? It's for gathering intelligence, and whether it's foreign nationals and espionage, or if it's just some local creep who's looking at, let me get an idea which house would be good to break in this neighborhood.
And maybe the smaller, that very well may explain the smaller swarms, right? Because they're cheap. You can do it. You can spend $100 and get 15 $10 drones or $10 drones, and tie them together with a Raspberry Pi and some software, strap an Arduino on each one of them, and control a small swarm.
Yeah, in case.
So it's not like this isn't high tech, right? It's
high tech is
not low tech either. It's rudimentary tech.
Yeah, high tech has gotten cheaper and more well known now. You have the Wi-Fi jammers for break-ins, and now the same type of what used to be high tech is now damn near at the dollar store, because it's been watered down like all technology is, and it's like satellite tracking.
How many people have a dolphin?
Yeah, or Flipper Zero.
Or Flipper, thank you. Yeah,
no, it's fine. Everything is getting cheaper. Everything is getting more easily accessible. So it would not be a far-fetched concept to think, all right, well, the holiday season's coming up. Let's fly out a couple and see who's got what now, and monitor their activity. And the speculation.
Well, not just that, but then you've also got the people that are using the jammers.
Yep.
Right. So we know these people are technologically advanced, right? These criminals or whatever they're up to that have been shutting down people's cameras and interrupting their Wi-Fi signal and interrupting their cellular service. Why would we not assume that it's the same type of people casing neighborhoods who can then roll in with the jammers?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat technologically advanced, but it's also mildly sophisticated in that they're coordinating and there's groups involved here. It's no longer just, somebody trying to break in the door because you're obviously, it's not the wet bandits.
What's wrong with you? Why do you do that? I told you not to do it.
Harry, it's our calling card.
Calling card.
All the great ones leave their mark. We're the wet bandits.
Breaking into the McAllister house because he knows he's got a VCR he can nab.
You're sick. You know that? You're really sick. I'm not sick.
It's very much a cyberpunk dystopia type feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
My rabbit hole took me down to the level of, okay, what frequency do most drones operate on? How can I broadcast it to jam it? That way, if something gets close enough to my house or something close gets enough to my antenna, I can literally just pew and let it fall into my yard and then reverse engineer whatever and figure out what I could do with it. Much like how I can't wait for somebody to reprogram one of them robot dogs, because that's going to be the shit. In case anybody wants to know, yes, I've seen Chappie, and I can't wait for the robot dogs to be reprogrammed and repurposed and see a whole bunch of graffiti on one and hear rap music coming out of it or something real fucked up but still high tech and repurposed technology is the shit.
I can't wait to see yours with the full kit from Knight Rider, body kit on it, right? And the legs, the eye in the front.
And the British voice.
There's the soundbite that's going into this section.
Okay, so Bagman, we know what Max's solution is for the drones. What's your solution?
My solution for the drones is the same thing that is my solution for the jammers, is the same thing that is my solution for the robot dogs, is the same thing that is my solution for regenerated InGen velociraptors. 10 gauge magnetized steel shot. Max can go high tech. I'm keeping it simple.
I like the netting guns too. I've seen
Fair
a
enough.
couple of those videos out. Basically, just like a large capture net. Something like that will be interesting.
Oh no, I'm not capturing anything.
Yeah, you want
number
pieces
4
falling.
shot.
I got
that's
you.
been magnetized that will penetrate the outer armor, and then just enough contact, even if it doesn't destroy the board, that little bit of magnetism is really going to screw stuff up. To the point, Preacher and I are planning on doing this as a homebrew project. Like, yeah, I'm all in on this one.
The shot's been ordered, by the way.
Damn straight it has.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We will update you in the network on this pet project. So, on my Christmas list is a drone, because again, you have to have one in order to learn how to program them and jam them and freak them out. So, we'll touch base back in the network for that one, and hopefully,
you have to know your enemy. Absolutely,
of course. We'll get schematics and diagrams and frequency ranges. I'm at the point
take
of
it out to a Clay's range and blow it out of the sky.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I found, of course, on Amazon, a little module that you can strap to your drone with a separate remote to drop things. I'll just say it like that. So I'm going all in on the drone concept for 2025, ladies and gentlemen. Flying to a neighborhood near you, or maybe not. Who knows? We'll see how I don't want my shit get all fucked up with magnetic buckshot from once across the Pennsylvania border. It's no coming back after that. So I'll just keep it in my backyard for now.
Yeah, which is weird because it's season here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and the hunters are all out with shotguns. And it's weird, we haven't seen any drones in PA. It's almost like there's a correlation there. Now I'm taking a leap and drawing two things way too close together, but that's all right.
There's enough string for everybody's vision board, sir. There's enough string for everyone's vision board.
Nice.
Yeah. So we'll definitely do some recon on frequency ranges. The only thing I'm missing right now in my my brain concept is a device that can transmit a frequency that I program in, much like a handheld walkie-talkie. But I haven't found a walkie-talkie that works on that range. The little bit of information I've found so far is it's a lot like Wi-Fi, 2.4 gigahertz. So I'm wondering if just a simple like net router, and then finding a way of like extending the antenna upward and maybe outward, and maybe put an inline linear amplifier in with it. But we'll touch back. We will.
Well, and I think with the information you're gleaning from and sharing in the radio page on the network, Control Freaks, it may come down to doing something like a dipole setup that's now going to really ram that signal out.
Yeah.
And then having the way you would a directional antenna and just nailing the sucker with that.
Well, that's how that
now
one,
the question
that
becomes,
one gun works. There's like they have it in a rifle format where it literally shoots out a high-powered radio frequency that jams them. So build the at-home game and just put your antenna up.
And then the FCC knocks at your door.
Well, it depends. I mean,
like
maybe I'm just amplifying my own
that's
Wi-Fi.
a hell of an
signal.
RF. Yeah.
You know,
Max is making his own Iron Dome.
Hey, look, if Reagan can launch satellites up with the first layer of defense, why can't I? The president of my own compound, President Phallus, is reporting to me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm definitely the head of the state.
Cue the music.
Oh, it's already playing in the background. I know how I work.
Nice.
Absolutely. So, since
Future Max has already played that music for past Max.
You just got to leave breadcrumbs from yourself. You know what I mean? I'm a confirmed time traveler.
Yep.
I guess just to wrap up the news segment of the show, it looks like that the judge has dismissed the manslaughter charges against Daniel Penny. He was the guy in the subway that...
No way.
Yeah. That
put the dude in the chokehold. That guy was like really
bugging
dangerous.
out on the train, yeah.
And the dude put him in a chokehold.
They dismissed the charges.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But again, as we always say, the punishment is the process.
Yeah. Well, and the next part is the guy's dad is now suing him in a civil suit. So that's, a whole nother layer of whatever he's going to have to deal with. But
the fact that it's been dismissed is positive in that civil suit as well.
Sure. He can now bring that as evidence or whatever. I don't know how that works, but that's
because
certain.
we're not lawyers.
We are not lawyers. Nope. We should get a lawyer to come on the show sometime.
We should.
Yeah.
He would just tell us to stop talking, probably.
Probably. Yeah. Shut up. We have some listener feedback in the network, too. I love this one. This is our dear friend Armin, who, whatever podcast I do, he's right there supporting it and always has fantastic input after the fact. So he says, on the latest podcast episode, you guys were talking about the national 2A groups and if they've been involved in New Jersey, besides NRA, which has funded a lot of ANJRPC stuff via the NRA Foundation and NRA ILA, FPC has partnered in a couple of cases, and most recently, GOA has partnered with CNJFO on our most recent lawsuit. I believe SAF has provided assistance to NJ2AS when they were still active, but I don't know if SAF was ever a named plaintiff like FPC and GOA have been. Little bit of alphabet soup there, but those are all national organizations and what they're doing in New Jersey. So thank you, Armin, for chiming in with that in the network. Very helpful as always.
Yeah.
And I responded, like, can we give Armin an award of some kind? Because he's always got the most valuable listener feedback.
Yes! Randy Watson! That boy is good.
And then I want to do a screen share because I think this will be funny. Different things that we're commenting on in the network. And for Thanksgiving, right? The obvious question or obvious thing to do is to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and ask what you're thankful for. So we've got some good answers here, right? Friends and family came up quite a bit. Max posted that he's thankful for all the problems we solved this year, which is a nod to the problem solver concept that's very big in the network. Tony says, I'm thankful for being on this side of the dirt. I'm thankful for my bride and hellions, and thankful for winning the lottery, being born here, referring to the U.S., which I think is also really great. But one of my favorite answers, which we're not going to read on the air, but I want you guys to see, is right here from David.
What is it? Is it titties? Is it, what? Is it pussy? What? No.
How great an answer is that? One word, simply brilliant. Well done, David. And I'm done sharing that for now.
Since we're referencing the comments in the network here, one of the members asked about gas masks. I don't know how versed you gentlemen may be about certain things, but I know nothing about that.
Gas masks versus industrial respirators. What considerations are required? What level of protection should we be looking for? What configurations, et cetera, et cetera. If you need to add a topic for additional podcast length, add NBC Apparel, which is nuclear, biological, chemical. And you can kind of sum that up with, tell me everything you know about gas masks and respirators, to which I would answer, no. Thanks for listening. That's the end of the episode. We'll catch you next time. No.
Mop gear sucks.
Yeah.
If you're going to use a gas mask, you use a gas mask to get somewhere safe. Trying to don NBC Apparel is miserable. It causes all kinds of problems. Does it even work? You know, does NBC gear work better than a Tyvek suit and a decent gas mask? I mean, there's arguments both ways. Maybe. But
right. All right. So the bottom line is you have to rehearse. You have to practice.
Yeah.
And let's rewind to the simplest aspect. If you've ever put on rubber gloves, right, that's donning PPE, which falls into this category, which is really what we're talking about, personal protective equipment. Most people do not put gloves on the right way. Most people do not take gloves off the right way. If you look at the way a doctor puts gloves on and takes gloves off, it's very different than what you're doing. And there is a right way and a wrong way. And you should probably learn the right way and the wrong way for your application of a gas mask or respirator as well. With that said, it is way too much for us to cover in this episode. We're going to touch on it and come back to this when we have more time to do some research, because I think that's really what it's going to come down to.
Facial hair is a problem.
Facial hair is a problem. And since all of us have it, it would certainly be an issue. I was using a half-face respirator with N100 filters on it at the start of the pandemic because that's what I had and used for other things. I like the N100 better than the N95 because it's got a better rating and deals with additional elements like oils and things like that. So
as well as exhalation.
Right. You also have to look at all the things and what are you really getting. So my particular half-face respirator did not filter my exhale. It was just a one-way purge.
Okay.
So I was not doing anybody any favors wearing that. That was solely for my protection. And I don't care what anybody on the news said about, oh, your mask protects me and my mask protects you. It's all bullshit. And if you've never done a fit test on a mask, then it's really not doing anything. That's the other thing. Fabric masks, I don't believe did anything because of the size. You have to consider the size of the particulate and the size of the filtration and what that does. And different types
rebreathing your own air.
Rebreathing your own air, rebreathing your own germs, rebreathing, the moisture that's either added or removed because of the equipment you're using. And it's a lot to cover. And I'll be honest, I'm not terribly well versed in it because there's about 1,000 different kinds of filters you can use, and each one has right and wrong applications.
So for gas masks specifically, at least what the military uses, right?
Right.
I'll go from my experience and mop gear. It is absolutely misery putting them on, wearing them, throwing a hood over top of you, even if you don't put the mop gear on, which, the reality is it's a giant winter coat that's impregnated with charcoal. I get that it's supposed to block fallout and everything else, but that's not how nuclear weapons work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
At least modern hydrogen bombs, right? If you're in the blast zone, you're in the blast zone. Sorry about your luck. As far as nuclear wasteland and fallout and everything else, it's really not that much of it. If that was the case, people wouldn't be living in Hiroshima and Nagasaki today, right? If we believe the stories that were told via sci-fi. In fact, I think it was only a month or so before they started rebuilding and people moved in and the radiation had cleared. Different story from like Fukushima or Chernobyl, right? That's just continuous waste being released. But gas masks for other agents, which have come up in the news recently. Apparently there's bad actors who are trying to weaponize and aerosolize fentanyl bombs and all sorts of other stuff. So in that instance, I don't know if an NBC filter would work. It probably would. That's the biological aspect of it, right? But again, when do you put it on?
Right. And are you even going to get enough advance warning to know, okay, now's the time to put this on before I'm exposed?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's a huge aspect of the prepper community. And I think, and this is probably a very controversial take on it, I think it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. I think you're better off having some respirators for smoke and fire, like the wildfires that rushed down from Canada last year. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was last year.
Right? All in New York and New Jersey were covered in orange smoke. You might want a respirator for that. Something that'll filter that type of stuff out. As far as nuclear and biological agents, I mean, at a certain point, you're just fucked. That's my opinion. Whether that's a good opinion or not, I don't know.
Right, and again, what are you realistically able to do? Are you going to carry a full-size gas mask on your person all the time? It becomes cumbersome and obnoxious, and you're not going to do it.
And how do you decontaminate yourself?
Right.
It doesn't do you any good unless you have a clean room at home that you can shower everything off, clean everything out, remove the clothing, remove the gas mask, know how to scrub it down, and ensure that, let's use mustard gas, for example, and ensure that no mustard gas leaks out of your little clean room into your house. It doesn't take much for that shit to kill you quick, And this is 1940s or 30s and 40s technology. So 20s, actually.
Yeah, and you're talking about the fentanyl bombs. Chances are, if all right, so again, let's build the entire scenario. Say you're in the subway in New York, because subways seem to be prime targets for those kinds of attacks, right? It's a confined space. You've got a lot of people. Your body count is going to be high. That's what motivates these bad actors, right? So most likely that's where they would do something like that. Do you have your gas mask with you on the subway? First. Second, do you have any kind of warning that lets you know it's time to put your gas mask on? And then can you do it in a crowded train with a bunch of other people who are now going, no, I want that gas mask? I think it becomes more of a liability at that point.
Or do you become a target because you have the gas
mask? If your warning is people dropping, it's too late.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the time.
Yeah.
Say that again, Max.
Well, I was going to say, I've watched enough movies to know that if somebody's pulling out a gas mask, they're part of what's coming out of, they're part of the situation, which would immediately make you more of a target. And, it may not be a matter of, oh, I want that gas mask that you have. It may be somebody thinking, stop him because he knew enough to have a gas mask on him.
So it's, we'll revisit this probably next episode. We'll put our resident man in the chair on getting some basic information on respirators and filters and what's rated for what. We'll kind of give a rough outline of that. I didn't have time to put it together this time around. But the P100 filters, the N100 filters, certainly better than a lot of the other stuff. And I use the ones that have the hard plastic shell on them, just because I think that's a little bit easier to clean off in the event it's exposed, where, like, I'll call them a soft filter. It looks like a disc, but it's fabric. Those are one and dones. There's no multiple application with that.
One more thing along this. Gas masks have a shelf life. There's a reason the surplus ones are so cheap.
Yep.
Right? That rubber that's used does not last a very long time. So you buy that for your whole family. Realistically speaking, what are the chances you're ever going to need it? Are you and it goes back to, are you going to recognize? Are you going to get it on? Are you going to get it on all your family? Are you going to start drilling? Correct. Are you going to do all these things? And are you going to carry it with you? We talk about concealed carry all the time, right? People carry. How many times do you go outside of the house without a gun on? I know I do it all the time. I go to pick up food, or I go here, or I go there, because I'm just running out. It's a calculated decision, right? This is going to be the same thing, and I guarantee you, people are going to be not carrying a gas mask more than they're not carrying a gun.
Right. Yeah, it just, I think there's a place for respirators. I think the gas mask is a bit of a stretch. It may be different if we were living in a place where the threat of those kinds of things was much more likely.
Syria.
And then you would justify carrying it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it would not be uncommon to see everybody carrying a gas mask all the time. It would be a very different situation. But where we are right now, the reality, the threat matrix, all those things, I think it's pretty low to have a full-blown gas mask. I think the respirator and a couple of filters is a much better idea. And the likelihood of, the wildfires or disasters that create a bunch of dust and dirt and contaminants in the air that are not necessarily weaponized, but
not good for your health,
but also not good for you. It's worth having those things, right? So half-face respirators are my go-to. The N100 or P100 filters, and that's kind of what I go.
A good set of safety goggles.
Yeah.
Hell, well, even a face shield.
Right. For everybody who's never seen the three of us, we all wear glasses. So that's immediately an issue with a full face mask.
Yep.
That's a problem. So that's also part of why I went with the half face.
When I had in my mop gear set, now I'm talking back in the 90s, so things are different now, right? But in my gas mask case, I had a old pair. Actually, I had my BCGs from basic training.
Mm-hmm.
Cut the arms off of it and just kind of stuffed them in there. Now they make glasses now for that kind of stuff, right?
Right, proper inserts, yeah.
But that was something that you had to do, and I can't tell you how many times I pulled that out of the bag and jammed it onto my face because I was being timed, right? And realized that I still had my glasses on, as well as the glasses on the inside. And, I finished it out. And the reality is it was training and I was being timed. So that was more important than me getting a proper seal.
Right.
But training scars, right?
Yep.
If I ever needed to do it for real, I probably wouldn't fare very well.
And being that
the other
glasses,
thing,
something that from back in the paintball days we had to deal with was fogging up when you had a mask on your face.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're in this high anxiety situation. Now you're getting a little bit of claustrophobia, putting a mask on your face. You're breathing heavy, and you're breathing directly up into your nose. So it's definitely something that people, especially people who wear glasses, should at least try it on, know how it feels, know how it works. And going back to what you said, Bagman, about like the probability of it, let's go back to the train derailment in Ohio. You know, something like that, just not randomly, but could happen in anybody's backyard if you live near any industrial type area, like Sayreville, New Jersey, or Newark, where there's plants and refineries and various other chemical-based processing plants. You know, we visit places like that with our line of work, and we have one customer in particular that issues you a respirator in a little pouch, and you have to carry it with you at all times, just in case they have an issue there.
I was just there recently.
Just in case they have an issue there on site and you hear this horn go off, that is your heads up of to get that thing out the bag and put it on. So while it's not probable, it's always possible. So I think that one thing I could say to the audience is you never know when it could happen. So be as prepared as possible. Know how it feels to put it on, especially if you have a family, because now you, much like the trauma from wearing a mask when it was COVID time of putting this on the child, let the child get comfortable having to put this thing on so they can deal with the claustrophobic feeling of having this mask on their face and how to control their breathing and how to breathe out and not up. So it may not be too much of a bad idea to explore it, you know, for the audience, but, you know, unless you're around in these types of areas, or if there's train tracks running through your backyard, maybe it may not be a bad idea. But it could happen from a truck. You know, we see tankers going up and down the highway all the time. You know, I don't think it's as far out there.
There's tons of things, and I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think the average person really has any clue what's rolling through their backyard on trucks and rail.
Mm-hmm.
So there's. If it exists in this country, understand it's moving through this country, and there's a good chance it's moving through your area too, right? So all of those things industrially are a risk.
Look at the fire in Florida with the marine chemical plant that went up. We talked about it, 2 podcasts ago?
Yeah.
You know?
So again, I'm going to lean on it's worth having the respirator. I don't think the full-blown gas mask is necessarily
I think it's more important for you to be able to seal off your house.
The cost overlay, all of those things. So there's multiple layers there, and we're not going to get into sealing the house on this either, because that's a whole nother thing. We're trying to stay focused on the one question that was asked, right? Masks and respirators. So and I would maybe veer off a little bit onto like rescue hoods, which is a similar product. That this is a terrible description. It goes over your head like a plastic bag. But
it is a plastic bag.
It's translucent. It has a filter on it, and it's way simpler. And I think that's what's actually in those kits that they issue at that chemical plant.
I'll agree with that. I think that's a better option to have.
And they make them for fire rescue and all kinds of things. And I think that's in a short-term disaster where you recognize an immediate need, that's probably going to be easier to put on a kid and get a decent seal than figuring out a mask, respirator, all those things. That hood goes on, seals up around your neck. Again, it sounds terrible describing it that way, but I think that's the better option.
And it works for your pets too.
Yeah, if you had to.
Well, I mean, they make them for pets.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I'm going to change gears a little bit and go to the next question that we have. Safe stores of wealth beyond fiat currency.
No, we're not doing all of those in one episode. That's each one of those is an episode.
Oh, okay.
Settle down, sir. Look, this new guy wants to take over the entire fucking show all of a sudden. You know, he shows up. Everything's got to be the way he wants it. He talks over everybody. He's going to run the show. You settle down, sir.
I learned it by watching you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Be sure to check out the sponsors we mentioned earlier. Check out the website, BlackBagResources.com. And if you really want to go deep and join the community, check out the Black Bag Resources Network. Thanks for listening.